Hi, welcome everybody. I'm here with Ashley Cooper and we're going to be talking about recruiter enablement. Ashley, thanks for coming and joining me today. Just give us a quick introduction. Who are you and what's your background?
Pleasure to be here. I'm a recruitment TA contractor, everything from man on the tools to manager, whatever, mostly startups. Before that, I had an agency sort of career, about 16 years, so 7 years in-house. And at the minute, I'm working with a company called M-Copper, who are based in Kenya, who are a superb microfinancing company, fintech, and I'm there helping out because they're super busy.
Terrific. And you know quite a lot about technology as well, because as we talked about off camera, you've done a lot of ATS transitions over the last few years.
Yeah,
So first off, right, what's recruiter enablement to Ashley?
I think so. Hyper personalization, I think, is the thing that's driven success for me as a recruiter. So rather than, so when I think about, actually, if we go a little bit further back and we think about how businesses or certainly startups that I've worked in get this structure, and they have like, so in engineering, they'll have, it used to just be engineers and architects and managers, but now there's a whole kind of range of jobs like DevOps, there's developer relations, and these people are kind of behind the scenes making things happen smoothly. In design, it's design systems. So they've got, and we are talking about templated libraries. And so where we get this kind of in talent, I feel like talent is like a sibling of engineering and design, and only a sort of cousin of HR, which is really, in most organizations, it's a sort of child of HR, but actually it's not. Well, I don't think it is, because I think the way that HR works is too structured, not growth minded, and is very template oriented. Let's get the offer letter template. Let's get this. This is your contract. It's all a bit sort of formal, but I think TA can be way more informal because we have to make people feel human through the process. So we get acceptance, buy-in, and we get to the end of what can be quite a lengthy process sometimes. And people say yes, and we offer them the job, and they say yes, and everybody's time is sort of been worth something, rather than we get to the end and they say no, and then everybody thinks like, oh, the TA have wasted our time. This candidate said no. So part of recruiter enablement is getting from one end of the, it is just getting from one end of the process to the other with an acceptance at the end. And then it's how easy can we make that, and then how can we make the candidate feel along that journey. And that's where I like this hyper personalization, and that kind of goes against the grain of having templates. So we could have some overarching guiding principles, but I feel like the recruiter has to do some work. So if you have to type a response to somebody that says, hey, you haven't got XYZ, or we're really busy and we can't fit you in, we've hired somebody, that's what we're getting paid for. There's no point if all this talk about AI at the minute, we're going to be replaced. You will be replaced if you're just firing templates off, or you're saying, oh, I've got too many to deal with. I try to deal with, and it's super high volume and copper. I try to deal with everything personally, or at least it sounds plausible that it could have been personally written, because it's not just some off the shelf excuse of we found better qualified people, or if you don't hear from us in a week, you could assume that you weren't. I think that kind of stuff is damaging. So you don't have to do very much to be better than most in our industry.
Okay, so if I said, right, so there's 500 people apply for a job and 499 of them get a message back coming out of Workday, which says, if you don't hear back in 2 weeks, you haven't got the job, right? Or I go, right, we've got to reply back with a personalized message and customized feedback for 499 people who are not getting the job. There's problems in both of those. Everyone getting exactly the same message and basically saying, if you don't get the job, then we don't care, right? That's a terrible candidate experience. If everybody's got to get some hyper personalized message back, that's a really challenging thing for the recruiter to do. what do we do? Is it somewhere in the middle? Is it closer to the hyper personalized?
I think it can be. I think it can be closer to hyper personalized, but it can be structured. Modern ATSs can be structured in a way that the funnel is already in play before you even get to the point of that message. So, questions on application, you're always going to get people that just shoot a resume off, and for them it's just like, I've seen the job title, I haven't read the job description, I'm applying. I need a job, I'm applying.
Yeah.
If you get creative on your job ads, you maybe then get better people that read it, resonate with it, and apply. So they're better quality people, because they're I don't hate the passive candidate thing, but they're people who were mildly browsing jobs, not desperate for a job. So if we could start to segment right from that stage, so we could say, are you in the right location? Where are you? So we don't want 50 questions on application, but there's usually a few things we can ask to say, are you currently working with C#, .NET, Azure in an environment that does payments? And all that's going to do is help me prioritize out of these 500 people, which ones I need to, the hiring manager, who is a customer of TA, they don't want their time wasted. So, and also, I don't want to feel like we had a great candidate that came in as number 465, and we missed them because we were just bogged down in the weeds. So I think people, when I say hyper personalization, I just mean, first of all, a valid reason. So, hey, thanks, I've looked through the first 20 through my segmented funnel that are in the right domain, they're working in finance, they've got Azure, they've got DevOps, they've got whatever I'm looking for at the time. These are the first 20 I'm going to look at, and I'm going to do some calibration with the hiring manager, and I'm going to say, right, okay, we like them. I'm going to book these in for screening. And the reality is, if I've got one vacancy, two vacancies out of these 20, that's a done deal. I'm going to hire one, right? So I've then got 480 people that I need to say, hey, look, really sorry. So a lot of those, there's going to be some. I've already extracted ones that are not in the right domain, don't have the right skills, they're not in the right location. So I'll give them, if you're not in the right location, I'll send you one that says you're not in the right location. If you haven't got the right skills, I'll send you one that says you haven't got the right skills. And if so once I've done that, I'm then down to sort of like 100 people that look just as good as the first 20. But I'm going to say to these people, hey, look, I've got 20 people in interview. I'm happy to revisit your application. I know that the clock's ticking for you. Link in with the company brand on LinkedIn. Follow me. Come back to me. I'll come back to you personally if you reach out to me personally. If you see a vacancy, pop back up on the website. Come back to me. I do like your resume. Thanks for applying. Let's stay in touch, and put the onus on them to stay in touch with me. I'm not going to keep sending them emails saying check our careers page. I think that's, if I get those, I end up putting them in spam, because if you apply for 20 jobs, you've got 20 people sending you content they've made. So I would rather say, if you really like, in this instance, Copper as a brand, stay in touch with me, and I'll keep you engaged in what's coming up. And that's my warm pipeline.
Got it. I think you're absolutely right. I couldn't agree more. You've got to, I think there is a place for templates, and I think that those templates, but not one template for everybody. It might be there's 8 different reasons why somebody's not going to get progressed, which can be relevant to 90% of the unsuitable applicants, and maybe 10% of them it's for a different reason. So you might need to do something a little bit more personalized, and then for the people who could be good next time, they get something a little bit more personal and an invite to keep in touch or something like that. So I think what you're talking about here is almost a blended model. So there's templates, but they're used in an intelligent way. Would that be fair?
Yeah, 100%. And I think the recruiters need a bit of latitude to inject some personality in it. So if I've met somebody, screened them, and then they're further down the line, they're not successful, I might put, hey, I really enjoyed hearing about your mum, or I really enjoyed hearing about what you did on holiday, and make it so that this connection comes, because I've not worked in a place where the templates have been fit for purpose ever.
Wow.
They're just not. They're all just your standard kind of, things that usually get churned out by ATS providers.
Yeah.
better ATSs are better at doing this than others. You know,
Yeah.
some maybe assume that everybody who's a no is going to get this, and it doesn't help. You know, people maybe shy away from the work. Maybe people have got other work that they feel like they should be doing, like sourcing or something. I don't know. I rarely source. Everything for me is like through the front door. I haven't got time to keep reaching out to people just to get ghosted, or you know, I might hand deliver a nice, if we're looking, I think it's a good job and we've written a good story about the job, and I know it's going to resonate with somebody because of the reasons are, maybe there's a social impact to it. Maybe there's, maybe we're doing something with technology that actually I know every sort of hardcore technology person is going to think, oh, that's a piece of me, that building something. So I'm going to keep those people, and I might reach out and say, hey, look, we're advertising. I thought I'd share it with you. But I'm not going to reach out with this kind of, again, this templated, oh, I saw your LinkedIn profile. It looks really good. Insert name, you know, and all this. I just think it's, people are sick of that, and candidates are sick of that. And everybody's sick of it.
Yeah, I agree. I just wanted to quickly touch on what I said at the beginning was, you know, you've been involved in quite a few different ATS selections in the last few years. Does an applicant tracking system's ability to enable recruiters effectively with good functionality for this type of thing, is that something that you're looking for when you are working with a company to help them to determine which is the right one for them?
Yeah, 100%. I think in recent years, the limitation. So whenever something comes along, and you know, you've built a product and it's gone to iCIMS and great, and now anybody who uses iCIMS probably gets that product, and that you've solved that kind of integration into someone's existing products and integration into someone's workflow. There's way too many good ideas in recruitment that go nowhere, because actually it's just, they don't think about integrating it into someone's workflow, integrating it into their current ATS and the way they work. And there's a massive sort of pain point around that. You know, I'm going to do something here, and then I'm going to import it here, and then I can do this here. And suddenly every recruiter on the planet has got a shortcut. Don't bother doing that bit. I just put them straight in there. And suddenly everything that the vendor has built in terms of, we're going to do this and do that, is out the window. So for me, an ATS with 99% of the tools I need in the ATS is an absolute kind of, that's the future. I want to open an application and everything I need is kind of there or within a click. You know, a bit like Amazon. You know, go to Amazon, everything you want to do is there. Page one, my account, what I've ordered, where's my order, can I get some new stuff, reorders. Thinking about how we build software for our industry to enable recruiters needs way more, I said the other day in some form, UX. It needs, there's not enough user experience with software vendors in our industry. I look through, and I actually make a point sometimes of looking at a vendor. If we're looking at a product, and I say I've done 5 or 6 ATS changes in the last few years, I'll go and look at how many UX people they have versus how many engineers they have in their organization on LinkedIn, because I'm thinking, you don't care, because, you know, I've worked in organizations that have got a heavy design focus and they're regarded as great products for a reason, you know. So if I look at you and you've got no UX people, nobody's ever come from a vendor of you know, an ATS and said to me, what do you think? You know, what do you think? You know, they'll all say, we've got, you know, if you want to improve something, just put it in the suggestions. No, you can pay me and I'll tell you what's wrong with it. I'm not, you know, this whole kind of like, so yeah, I think there's a need for just one application or a very simple integration into, or segue into, another sort of product.
Great. We've covered quite a lot of different things on this session. Ashley, thanks so much for taking the time to come and join me. Great to see you again.
Yeah, you too. Take care.